G'day. Guess what? It's July. And in July, we cut back all the roses. We do a winter cutback. Let me show you what our roses look like at the moment before I get into it and show you exactly how we do a winter cutback. So here's what the roses look like in early July for us. We do have quite a lot of them still flowering at the moment because we did hold off on our autumn prune. We were too busy, so it kind of got shifted back a bit. So as you can see, we do have quite a few flowering, but it does not matter. They're all going to get cut back. We do have quite a few customers who quite often say to us, but they're flowering, I don't really want to cut them back. That's fine, that's your choice, but for us, we want to cut all of ours back so that they're flowering and full of beautiful, fresh foliage in around late September, October for us. It is sad to say goodbye to some of the flowers, but as you can see, the foliage itself is looking a little bit tired. We've got black spot, which we never worry too much about. It's more of a cosmetic annoyance. And we've got leaf drop down the bottom, so the stems are looking a bit bare. This one in particular is looking very winterized. And yeah, like I said, it's going to be a shame to lose the flowers, but that's not a problem at all for us. Look at this beauty. This one's Dark Desire. And I wish you could smell it because it's amazing. Now, we have 66 roses at the front. There's John over there. He's cutting back roses faster than I can film. 66 roses at the front. So we've got bush roses, 2 standards at the door there, and then we pan over here, and we've got 1 standard over here, 10 standards here, and then over in the little entrance garden, we have 5 David Austin roses. So we will show you how to cut them back. We'll just watch John here a little bit. So when you're cutting back roses, there's really not much to it. We find people worry too much. Roses are so hardy. Honestly, you could cut them back with your eyes closed and they'll still shoot back. As long as you're not cutting below the graft, if you are talking about grafted roses, which we do indeed have. So as long as you're not cutting back past that graft, your roses are probably going to bounce back beautifully. So when we cut back roses, we have a sharp, clean pair of secateurs, we have long sleeves, long pants, and we have a pair of loppers. We don't compost our roses because of the thorns and all that. We don't have the room to have a big compost pile, so we take our rose cuttings to the tip. So we've put a tarp in the van, and when we get to the tip, we will just pull the tarp out and shake all the roses off. Last year we forgot to do that and we had to hand unload all the roses. It was not fun touching them twice. And just like that, John's got the first section of roses done. So you can see when we cut our roses back, we do go quite hard. We make it look a bit like a graveyard. So John's done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just like that. How long do you think that took you, John?
10 minutes.
10 minutes to do 7 roses. Of course, when you're new at it, it takes a little bit longer. You're probably going to be 10 minutes on just 1 rose, but we just get right into it and try not to think too much. So this rose is Dark Desire. It's a hybrid tea rose, beautifully fragrant, and she needs a cutback just like all her brothers and sisters. This one is quite a good one to show you how to do it with, because if you come down here and show John, there's quite a lot of dieback in this one. So when we're cutting back roses, we want to get rid of anything dead, diseased, or damaged. Now this one here is has died back rather. You can see all this is dead. So we're going to take it off all the way down to here. And then if we look a little bit further, you can see there's another dieback branch right there and another died back branch in here. So as for if I can see anything else that's damaged, I can't see anything damaged on this rose. So there's just the dieback, and then the disease. Obviously we've got black spot present, but as I have mentioned, it's more of a cosmetic annoyance for us. All roses get black spot. I'm not too worried about it, but I will make sure when I cut it back that all the leaves are stripped off, and then we'll give it a nice clean up and we'll fertilize them. Okay, so I'll start with cutting the dieback out. So we've got loppers because it's absolutely huge, too huge for a pair of secateurs. So that's that one gone. Another one over here. Once that one's gone. Oh, she got me. And then this one here. This one here is, I'll be able to get a bit closer with secateurs to that one. Now I'm going to work on the reduction of the rose. So as you can see, John's cut back all the other roses over here, and none of them are really higher than 30 centimeters tall. So about a foot from the ground is what we cut our roses back to each winter. Just going to start with the loppers and really reduce it down. And when I'm cutting it down, I'm looking for outward facing buds or nodes. That way, when the rose shoots back in the springtime, or late winter rather, it's going to most likely shoot out away from the center of the rose, which produces a little bit more airflow, less disease, healthier plants. Okay. Thank you. Ow. Dark Desire is a particularly prickly rose. I'm going to get my secateurs. I'm going to cut this one. So there's some really nice obvious nodes here. John was just saying to me before that nodes kind of look like eyes. It's like a line along the stem, and then you can see a kind of little swollen bit in the center. Kind of looks like an eye, and whatever way that eye is facing, you kind of want to pick one that's going to go outside, not towards the center. So this one here has a node just here. You can see the line and the little kind of center part. So I'm going to cut just above that one. And then in theory, of course, because plants don't always grow by the textbook, but in theory, this node here, this bud, should be the one that shoots quite a nice dominant branch, and it'll come up and find the sun. So quickly do the rest of them. These ones here. So this one I've chosen a node that's going to come out this way in theory, and this one has a node that's going to go this way in theory. This one has a node on this side here that's going to go up this way. And we're down to not many branches to go now. This one here has a nice node here that should come out this way. Now when I'm cutting, I'm not paying any attention to the way I'm cutting. It doesn't need to be on an angle. It doesn't need to be dead straight. Just a nice clean cut. The loppers for the last one. And sometimes you've got to stretch your head around to really find it. There's a nice node here, which should come out this way. And now any little, like this is a little dead bit here, but if this was a green bit that was fine, I'd still just nick it off because I don't want anything spindly. Basically a winter cutback, we want to reduce it to just solid, big, thick stems that are going to be the framework for your next season. Anything spindly needs to go, whether she's dead or green, and just leave these nice solid canes. Aren't they beautiful? I thought I'd pick the best ones and bring them inside before they all get thrown in the tip. Roses in July, they'll look beautiful on my table. This one here is a Quartz Jubilee, isn't it absolutely huge? Hot cocoa. Winchester Cathedral. There's so many. I will end up doing like a rose tour and talk in spring, but they smell amazing. So I just wanted to film this one while we're in the middle of cutting this rose section back. So I didn't discuss crossing branches. So the idea is that we want the rose to kind of look like this. So none of the branches are hitting each other or going into each other. Whereas this one, you can kind of see she's really outdone herself this season. And she's got branches that are going here, there, and everywhere through the center. See how this one goes straight through the center, rubs up against this one here. And then there's a few other branches doing that as well. So we want to eliminate that as best we can. So with this branch that crosses through here, what I'm going to do is actually take out this entire branch. So what I've identified down here is there's a little bud, a node that's facing out this way, and that's where I'm going to cut it back down to. So as I pull this one out, you can see that crossing branch is gone, and it already looks a little bit more open. Okay, so then we've got another strong one in here that's just coming up through the center and kind of going everywhere. So we'll end up taking that one out as well. And with that one, I'm just going to cut it completely off down at the base here. There's no need for this much framework to be in the rose. We really want to open it right up and only have a handful of canes. Because from each one of those canes, you're going to get multiple branches, shoot multiple roses. So we really want to, this one's stuck in there, so we're going to try and get it out. So she's looking much better. Sometimes when your rose is a bit messy, don't be afraid to just chop some off, just so that you can see. I mean, you know that you're already going, we're going to be cutting the rose down to this level here. So if we just willy-nilly cut up here and get rid of quite a lot of it, because that way it's less congested and we can kind of see what we're doing. Now, this branch here is in the middle of the rose. It's also got a little bit of damaged wood here, which was probably last year's dieback that we cut back, and it's just not looking super healthy. So she's a good contender to go. Goodness me, I should use the loppers, but I'm trying to film it with one hand. Okay, so we'll try and get that one cut down a little bit lower. This one here, we're going to cut it back to this. Actually, I'm going to cut it back to this node. So that one there should shoot up nicely. A little bit of dieback there and there. Snip those ones off. A little bit more down here. Okay, so then we go to this branch here. So there's 3 here. We don't really need that many. Cut that one off. This one's got a nice bud that's coming out this way. Chop that one. So this one here has a nice bud right there. There we go. She's looking a bit more open. Okay, what else can we do? This one in the center here does not need to be here at all. Again, I probably should be using loppers, but I'm trying to do this film one-handed with my phone. Okay, we've got this branch that's coming into the center of the rose. She doesn't need to be there at all. So if I come around here without trying to kneel on a rose cutting, because I'm getting quite in the thick of it, I'll just nip these little ones out, because as I talked about, these little ones we always get rid of. We don't need anything thin. Oh no, I'm snagged. We don't need anything thin like that in the rose. Okay, so you can see we've got dieback. We've got a branch that's kind of going into the rose. So we're trying to identify somewhere, and I can see it already, this little node right here. Beautiful. Nice strong branch will come out this way. That gets rid of that branch that was going in. So cut the spindly ones off again. This one here has a nice bud coming out this way. So I might take her back a bit. We've got a little bit of dieback here. Get rid of that one. A little branch here. Get rid of that one. This one here, I might cut back down to, there's a node on the other end of this branch here. cut that there. Oh, she's looking much better now. I'm going to get the loppers and I'm going to take this dead bit back here, the dieback. We'll take that out with the loppers. How are we going? So you can see we've got plenty of framework here. So something like this little bit here, unnecessary, can just get cut off. All right, this one here, we want to find a node that's going out. There's one there. Cut her off. And then we're down to this one, which straight away I can see there's a beautiful one right here. So we'll cut just above that. All right. Now, doesn't that look like a massive improvement as what it was before? We had crossing branches and just so much congestion. I'm thinking this branch here, because this is what always happens, right? You cut your rose back and then you kind of think, oh, actually I might just take that one off. And I'm kind of thinking that for this branch here. So instead of having this one, which is probably going to shoot here, 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 everywhere, which, you know, will look quite nice, I might just take it down to this bud here, which is quite clearly going out this way. There we go. And I think that will do me. I'm very happy with the way that rose looks compared to what it did look like. Only a few more to go. John's over there cutting them back. I think he's doing 2 roses to my one. He's very fast at this. All right, get back to it. There's a kookaburra that comes to our front garden every morning and afternoon. He's on the fence at the moment, so I'll show you. Okay, so it's a new day. Yesterday it got a little bit too dark, so we just packed away our piles of rose clippings into the van and then headed inside to do all the mum and dad type stuff. But we're back out again today and we're going to get the standards done, as well as there's just a couple of bush roses to the side garden and then one bush rose over here. So I will show you what the roses look like, because it's a huge difference to what it looked like yesterday morning before we started cutting them back. It's incredible. Like I said, it kind of almost looks like a rose graveyard because we cut them back so dramatically short. I'll show you. Okay, so you can see Roxanne there, and she looks like she's standing in a garden of nothing, but there are roses. They're just so short. So underneath Roxanne, we've actually got, we've got the Dichondra Silver Falls, which has just volunteered to come up here, which is quite nice. We will leave it for now because we quite like it. But underneath, in between rather, the roses, we do have some daffodils coming up. So I always love cutting the roses back in July because that's right when the daffs are starting to come up. We don't worry too much. You can see how some of them have been trampled a little bit, but they bounce back fine. We never worry too much about that. So the garden itself looks quite bare now, but before you know it, they'll all be full of beautiful, healthy new shoots, and then they should be flowering in September, October. Okay, so these are the standards we're going to do today, but I think I might start on the 2 standard roses that are in front of the house. Okay, so similar to yesterday, I've got my gloves, my long sleeves, loppers, pair of clean, sharp secateurs, and I'll be putting all the clippings into the van again. But for now, I'll just make a pile. Okay, so as I said yesterday, don't be afraid if your rose is quite messy. Hold on, I forgot to put my gloves on. Although these ones here are standard white iceberg roses, the really popular standard. And they're actually Not super thorny. In saying that, it just grabbed me. Not super thorny like some of the bush roses we were chopping back yesterday. But I will put my gloves on because there definitely still is thorns. Okay, so as I said yesterday, don't be afraid if your rose is quite big to just chop it back and not pay too much attention as to where you're chopping it, because at the end of the day, the winter cutback, we want to get it right back down to kind of, 30 centimeters above the graft, if you are indeed cutting back the grafted rose. If you're cutting back roses that are on their own rootstock, you can chop it down as far as the lowest active node, I guess. All my roses are grafted. So I have not cut back own root roses before. Okay, now I can see a little bit more when I kind of put my hands in there and see. So basically we just want to cut it down again to kind of as low as we can go to where we see those nice nodes that are pointing out from the center. We also want to open up the center of the rose if we can and eliminate any crossing branches, as well as the 3Ds, so dead, diseased or damaged canes. So I'm pretty happy with how this one is starting to look. I do like to keep the two at the front door a little bit bigger. So I've chosen to leave a few of these kind of smaller, greener canes and just chopping them to nodes where I want the branches to go so that it looks a little bit fuller as it grows. I do chop them both back, and then I find I tend to kind of go back over them and thin them out a little bit more. And I do like to try and have it, because it's on a slight hill, I try to have it so both these roses are cut at the same height. So this one will be cut a little bit lower and this one a little bit higher, so that it's the same when you walk through the door. But with this one, as you can see, I've kind of made my cuts that I'm happy with. I mean, there's a few things I'm seeing now, like this little spindly branch I'll chop out. But you can see I've made my cuts and there's still leaves on the branches. So I don't want any leaves on the branches. I want all leaves gone. So we just pull them off. Okay, that one's looking pretty nice. I am thinking that this one here is quite a bit out that way. When I look at the rose bush as a whole, there's quite a big node on this side here, and I might chop it back to there just so that it comes out this way. That one should shoot out here. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to chop the other one back now, and then we'll have a look at the two of them together. Okay, so I've cut them both back, and now I'm just taking a step back and I'm working out if I'm happy with the level that they are. So I'm pretty happy with that. And then I just look at them from the side and I make sure I'm happy with the way they are on the side. Now this rose has always been a little bit smaller than that rose. I believe that one gets a little bit more sunlight. And when I'm looking at it like this, it's definitely a lot larger on that side. So I might try and take some of these front bits off. So you can see how that rose is a lot narrower. So I might try and cut it back a little bit here. I just wanted to quickly mention too is that there's no dead set rule for cutting back roses. So I could, if I wanted to give this rose a really hard cut back, which I don't want to this year, because as I mentioned, I quite like the two front ones being big. But if I wanted to, I could cut this rose back really hard. Do you see this node here? I could cut it back right there if I want to. Same with this one here. There's a little node here. I could cut it back to here. So I can make this look really stumpy and small. See this node here? I could cut it back here. And it could be really small and then shoot back and kind of start again in the spring. But I don't want to eliminate that beautiful framework in this particular rose. I just want it to kind of match its sister over there and then move on to the next roses. Next year, who knows, maybe I will decide to cut it back to this node and this node. It's personal choice. It really is with rose cutting. And I truly feel like you don't need to think too much about it. Just kind of cut it back to the level you like, and it'll shoot away. Roses are so hardy. Okay, so I'm just looking and I'm thinking, I really do want to take away the front of this to match the other ones. So I'm going to cut this one to this node. I'm going to cut this one off. And out this way, I think I'm going to cut this one off. And then, what else do I want to do? This one here. Starting to look a bit better. Funnily enough, I talked about this node, but I think I actually am going to cut it to this node because it'll bring it in line nicely. Okay, gosh, that's looking better already. Like, I don't know if you can see it properly in my film, but it's brought it way back in just like the other one. So I'm happy with that. I have to pick them up now. I got the wheelbarrow to make it a bit easier. John pushed it over. Oh, that looks so much better. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, we are done. So we just did all the standard roses, and that's it for us. I will do another video soon though with what we fertilize the roses with, and also what John sprays them with as well after they're cut back. I'll show you the van, nice and full. And that's where we'll end the video. Thanks for watching, guys. See you at the next one.